but out of sense of reverence for what real teaching offers. When Wiesel said, "From one teacher to another" to Mark, he revealed the core of his own identity and Mark's. As one of the creators of the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, I felt a particular gratification in his depiction of bringing students to the museum for a visit and the impact of the museum and its various educational outreach programs on Mark. The vision of what we once dreamed possible has become a reality, and Mark is one of its exemplars. How should one read this book? Some advice. Take the title seriously. Allow yourself to think higher and feel deeper. What an audacious title and a terrific challenge to those of us who teach, especially to secondary school teachers who go at it day after day, period after period, year after year, with but modest pay and limited recognition. Mark has reminded us all of the reasons we teach: to reach students and transform them, enlarge their horizons, empower them to grow, and in Mark's case, make them not only informed citizens, but better people. Martin Buber wrote of the role of a teacher. Some teachers make students enthusiastic about themselves. However important, that is the task of the social worker. Other teachers make their students enthusiastic about them. That, too, is important, but it is the task of a performer. A true teacher makes their students enthusiastic about the subject matter, and by engaging them, enables them to affirm themselves and their teacher. Mark does all that and more. Mark often raises more questions than answers. Thus, he is faithful to his subject matter. The Holocaust resists simple answer and raises significant questions. We must share our questions with our students and introduce them to a world that resists easy answers. Questions can be pursued together. Join Mark in pursuing the questions. Share them with your students. Magic can happen in your classroom as well. Michael Berenbaum, American Jewish University, Los Angeles. Introduction. Tolerance is condescending. Who am I to tolerate your views? I should respect your views. Who knows? They may be better than my own. Elie Wiesel, 2012a. The question flitted about nervously in my head, as if it wished to escape. I had been waiting all year to ask this single question of a single individual of whom I am not ashamed to admit I was perpetually in awe. My students and I stood anxiously in a large side room adorned with modern artwork at the 92nd Street Y in New York City, far from our homes in Lincoln, Nebraska. A few of my colleagues, teachers like me, had joined us, along with my student teacher, Melissa. We were 25 in all, maybe 26, the number agreed upon months ago when the planning for this annual excursion had begun. A few young men had failed to heed my directive and wore T-shirts, and later I would be too hard on them. But most of my students looked as if they were on their way to worship, or perhaps a homecoming dance. My own suit didn't fit particularly well. I had not yet discovered tailors. Mr. Wiesel's personal assistant, a tall, slender woman with straight, dark hair, high cheekbones, and kind eyes, entered the room and smiled at us. She was accompanied by the director of the 92nd Street Y, a jovial, bearded man. The two of them were yet again largely responsible for our being there. This was maybe the third or fourth time in as many years that I had brought students to this place for this reason, and by now I knew and appreciated them both deeply. "He'll be in just a moment," his assistant beamed at my students with an assuring nod, still wearing her smile with ease. They shifted their weight, and many looked to me in anticipation. I smiled reassuringly. When Professor Elie Wiesel, Holocaust survivor and Nobel laureate, whose memoir Night was deeply meaningful